Okay.
Okay, we're live now.
Good evening, everybody, to those present in the room and to those in watching online. We're going to begin with an acknowledgement that we're gathered today in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral, present, and future territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Together we gather with the intent followed by the living peace and friendship treaties with respect, cooperation, and coexistence. Before I call the meeting to order, I just want to say that in the room we have three councillors, Joseph Feeney and Richard Nowell and myself. And we have Councillor Lois Croft online, and we've had regrets from the mayor and from the deputy mayor and from Councillor Wilson. So we're a small group. We've had some technical issues getting ourselves started, so we apologize for being a little bit late. So I will call the meeting to order now and ask for approval of the agenda. And I know there's some amendments, and so I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda and to note the amendments.
Thank you, Councillor Carver. I move that we approve the agenda. I'd like to add an item under council items, please, associated with personnel, Municipal Joint Service Board, as well as we have an extra item of correspondence that we'd like to add, and let's call that 5.4.
And there's an item to be removed from the agenda as well, or to be deferred.
Item 7.1 as well is
Yeah.
going to be deferred until the next meeting.
Okay, so a motion has been made. Is there a seconder? I see Councillor Lois Croft.
Thank you. I'll second it.
So the agenda with the three amendments as noted, all in favor? Approved. Thank you. So we have minutes. Look for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting April 9th, 2024.
I would so move that we accept those regular council meeting minutes.
Councillor Now and Councillor Feeney, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Any? Nope. Being none, all in favor? Thank you. And the minutes of the special council meeting April 11th, 2024.
I'll move them.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Councillor Lois Croft. And a seconder, Councillor Feeney. Any comments, discussion on those minutes? Being none, all in favor? Thank you. There's nobody present for public input. So we can move right along to, and there's no presentation scheduled. And we can move right along to correspondence. So the first item is a letter from the Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing with proposed amendments to acts. I have about 5 questions.
Fair enough.
There's an enormous amount of stuff, and I guess, you know, if you've read any of the coverage on this in the media, this is a pretty unusual way the province is going about using the Financial Measures Act to make a bunch of legislative changes, so there has been some back and forth through the AMA and some other CAOs about trying to summarize some of these changes, and so, you know, council's inclined to, I know we have very busy policy and strategy committee meetings, but you know, if you want to refer it there, I could try to provide some additional context ahead of whichever meeting we talk about it at. I don't think we're going to change the province's legislative agenda, but just so that we better understand the changes.
Yes, there were lots of things in there to get your head around.
Happy to make that motion to refer the item.
Councillor Feeney, second by Councillor Dow. Any discussion on that motion? I see Councillor Lois Croft, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was just wondering, and probably the CAO can answer this. Were these changes requested by the Nova Scotia Federation? Are these changes that the government themselves made? Was there discussion about these changes in any form?
So it's my understanding that, you know, just my understanding that these were not initiated by the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. I think there probably was some level of engagement. That's something I'm not especially in the loop about. I think NSFM has a working group that they maintain with the province. That's how we did the service exchange conversation. So it may be that there has been some back and forth, but it's nothing I'm privy to.
I would
Right,
think.
because a lot seem to have to do with speeding up permits, allowing for changing, building, red tape around building. Am I correct in that? It just seems, and giving the more power to the CAO to have the authority to okay certain things that weren't allowed before?
Yeah, my take on the development rules is, and we can talk more if we refer this to committee, but my take on the development rules stuff is that the province is continuing this trend of kind of stepping in a little bit into municipal jurisdiction to encourage housing. So I think a lot of these rules are intended to expedite housing starts. Whether they would in practice, I don't know, but I think that's what the intention is.
So I think, sorry,
PAC
Councillor Lovis Croft.
Sorry, so we'll discuss this at PAC, I assume, this month.
Well, that's a good question, which one to refer to. It has so many different components. I was thinking policy and strategy, but a lot of it is definitely PAC stuff, and I think that our planners have dug into this somewhat, so we could refer to PAC.
Yes.
And then council members could attend the PAC meeting.
And we've actually
Yeah.
discussed that for the
Yeah.
next meeting, council members may want to be in attendance,
Yeah.
so.
So, the
As
motion-
amended?
Yeah, as amended.
Mhm.
Thank you. So have you got the amendment? If the seconder agrees. And, any other comments on that motion? Being none, then all in favor? Great, thank you. That's going to be a very interesting discussion. I think your PAC. So then there are two letters then from Barry Dupuy, both of them about fire service issues.
Councillor Carver, I know that Mr. Dupuy's been made a number of inquiries to town hall, and there's been some follow-up from staff to him as far as information that he's requested has been packaged up and provided. I think that the ongoing conversation about the town's representation and support of fire services in the district's kind of an ongoing conversation. And we're going to be going through the budget process and hopefully bringing that to finality here in the next month. So there'll be more follow-up with Mr. Dupuy about issues that he's concerned about. And, so we appreciate his notes, and I'd move that we receive and file them.
Your seconder? Councillor Mel? Any more discussion on the motion?
But just a quick note that for anybody interested in the budgets, obviously the versions we work with are working draft documents, but there is usually in the final version more of an effort to include some notes and explanations and analysis. And I know that there's been some effort to prepare that for this one, so
Excellent.
hopefully that will be an easier and more informative read than the working document.
Excellent. Councillor Lovis Croft, do you have a question?
No,
Or
I'm
you're
sorry.
just pre-voting? Okay, all in favor of the motion to receive and file? Thank you. And 5.4 is a letter received from Trudy Richards. I don't know, you did say it hasn't shown up online. Is that
No,
right?
we only just added it, yeah,
Okay.
but I guess I'll say, just to begin with, this letter was actually received prior to the submission deadline for the meeting, and it was left off accidentally. So council adding it back in now is really intended to correct that oversight, and I guess apologies to anybody watching that wasn't in the package, so you're just gonna have to follow along now.
So the correspondence pertains to the potential establishment of a fenced-in dog park.
Correct.
And I'd move that council direct staff to review the letter and report back to council with their thoughts on the potential to do that.
Thank you, Councillor Feeney. Is there a seconder for that motion? Suzanne, Councillor Lovis Croft seconds the motion. Any discussion? Councillor Lovis Croft.
Yes, we did have a dog park at one time. It was the ballpark itself, and it was open only certain times of the the week, usually Saturday and Sunday. And and there were some issues, so I think there was a lot with people cleaning up after their pets and control of their pets. So we may want to have some discussion. I'm not in any way against it. I'm a dog owner myself. But we in our discussion and deliberations on this topic, it's we have to find out, is this volunteer, what people are looking for. Are they looking for us to hire someone to clean up behind them, or are they going to look after people who use it, are responsible for cleaning up and whatnot? So it was a really big issue before.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think we can discuss those once the
Yeah.
staff gives their report.
Mhm.
So, we have a motion on the floor, moved and seconded, and, are we all in favor? Opposed? None. Thank you, motion carried. Next on the agenda is staff reports, and the only staff report we have this time is, the short staff report to council.
Not even the one it should be.
Not even the one.
Which was, again, I guess, just kind of another oversight. Everybody's been so busy this spring that we didn't get
Yeah.
the usual updates, so we did update the first part. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions about the staff report?
My only question was on item 14, which was the environmental assessment on the town-owned property on Kimborn and Hawthorne. If, based on our submission, if May still a realistic timeline to have that kind of completed, or whether we should amend that
It
timeline.
won't
to
be a realistic timeline to have it completed.
Right.
I mean, my understanding is we can get the work scheduled as soon as the document is signed off. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, the motion, I wanted to talk about this anyway, so might as well talk about it now.
Okay.
The motion to sign the document, I believe, did say that the mayor signed the document. So I guess we weren't in
Oh,
a
yeah?
huge rush for that.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, if the mayor is not available to sign the document, I don't think there's any problem with someone else signing the document. In fact, quite often the CAO would sign the document, but when we talked about it last time, I think there was an intention for it to be signed by the mayor. So I don't know if council has preference there. I just need to sign that document in order for it to be provided over to CMHC as evidence of the partnership that we have, so. And then my understanding was it will take probably as much as about 8 weeks to actually deploy and complete the work, so
Mhm.
the sooner we get going, the better.
Do we need a
So
motion?
a motion to amend the original motion to have, so that we can have the deputy mayor sign it in the mayor's absence? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm just flipping back because I do believe that was how it was
And,
phrased.
do we follow the check signing policy that goes mayor, deputy mayor, and then I'm the third one, because I'm usually more available than.
I don't, this is, I mean, the nature of this agreement, I think it's more than fine to have any person who is a signing authority of the town sign it. So myself, yourself, we can say the deputy mayor, but he's also not available, and he's here tonight. So I have the document here, so if you were to say that Councilor Carver or CAO Hyde, then we could do it right now.
Yeah, one of the signing
Not
authorities.
totally on the spot, but, yeah, I mean, it could even just be, that the contract be signed, like, if we,
Let's
you know,
just amend.
it's good enough.
So amend the motion to have the contract signed. We'll find some live body to sign it, I'm sure.
And the seconder, okay, was okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
originally it was motion by Councilor Wilson, second by Councilor Now, so we're just making a new motion.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh,
new
it's a
motion,
new
new
motion,
motion,
okay.
fair enough.
And we do have a mover and a seconder.
We do.
Councillor Knott, and any more discussion? All in favor?
So with that edit, then we're just gonna adjust that May to something September.
Well, I mean, May I'll be able to report back and say we have an ETA.
All right.
So I'll just, next one, it'll switch to, okay, we've actually got it scheduled, and this is when it's gonna be.
So anything else for the staff report?
Not actually on that, but on the same, as we just discussed, same type of effort. I noticed some work going on that property back there with the backhoe and the truck hauling stuff over there down on the back end of it. Did we know what that's for or what they're doing there?
It was just us, that was just public works, we're doing some stuff to make sure there's no drainage issues for the area where transformers are stored.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be having a lot
Yeah,
of new
no,
transformers and a lot of old transformers.
I just saw the work going on. I thought,
Yeah, no, that was all, they just, because we had this expectation, they wanted to create a nice level pad for it that wasn't gonna be wet, so that's what they're doing.
Okay, not hearing any other questions on the staff report. Do we usually receive the file or just
Yes.
receive for information?
We'll see for information, don't we?
Mhm.
By motion?
Yeah.
A
I'll
motion
move
by
that we
Councillor
receive
Now,
the staff
and
report
second.
for information.
okay, and seconded by Councillor Feeney. Thank you.
Mhm.
Moving along to item 7, council items. 7.1, the representative volunteer for 2024 has been deferred to the next regular meeting. And then the item 7.2 is a committee application. So the application was circulated by email. But do people remember the name? It's looking for a motion to nominate Colin Kingsville to the Heritage Advisory Committee and the Planning Advisory Committee. So I'm looking for a motion.
And can I intervene just, I just, with the planning advisory appointment, I wasn't sure if we maybe get a cross wire.
Oh, I think.
Because we
Right.
appointed Helga
I
Baxter.
didn't find out there was
Yeah.
another appointment
Yeah.
until after that went out.
So that actually doesn't have a vacancy now.
No, it's just HAC.
Correct, thank you. So just
I'll move.
backtracking. It's a nomination to the Heritage Advisory Committee.
I so move.
Thank you, thank you, Councillor Lotus.
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Feeney. Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Excellent. Good to have another member of the Heritage Advisory Committee. Does that fill it up now?
We're
I
I
getting-
believe we
we're-
have
we're
one
getting there.
more
There's still one
resident.
more?
I think there's 3 residents because 2 are founders.
Ah, yeah, I forgot about that, right?
I think it's more than we've ever had on the
Yeah.
committee. Though.
It's good.
That's great. Excellent. So then going down to section 8, committee reports. The first report is from the Lunenburg County Senior Safety Program. Any comments, Councillor Lotus Croft?
No, the reports are, as you can see, there are a lot of issues that seniors are needing some assistance with or information for, but we've got a great executive director who is really very hands-on and is doing some outreach in different communities, and especially in the rural parts of Lunenburg County, which is great to see. We do have an issue that Penny and I are going to be, not an issue, but just something that's come up for their bylaws on the board, that Penny and I will be meeting with the CAO about representation from municipalities. So there is some thought into downsizing the size of the board. There's a problem with getting quorums and whatnot. So we're going to be discussing further our take as Mahone Bay, because we are a town with a large population of seniors, and the senior safety is important to many of our residents. So the services too.
Right,
it-
thank you. And
Nice.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, it's just nice to have people hearing them, getting the information and the knowledge and support and knowing how to deliver it to people in the town through
Yeah.
representation.
It's an excellent program, and just to clarify what Councillor Lotus Croft had said about she and I meeting with the CAO to talk more about the issue. The reason I'm involved in that is because I, in the past, have been the representative from the town to the senior safety program, so I have a bit of that history and how that came about in municipal representation. Councillor Lotus Croft, I had a question about the food security grant. Can you you have any more information about that that was referred to in the report?
Yes, and we didn't have quorum at our meeting the other day, so we did not get more information on that. So maybe stay tuned, and next month I will have something for you. on-
Thank you. So there's a report from the South Shore Open Doors Association on file. That's usually for information only. Have minutes from the Policy and Strategy Committee. I don't think there's any recommendations in that one. And the Heritage Advisory Committee draft minutes, I don't think there is a recommendation in.
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing of note, well, lots of note, but I guess the only thing relevant tonight is the Heritage Trust presentation will be happening in the month of May, and there'll be more information from the town shortly about the time and the place.
Open to the public.
Open to the public.
Yep. It's going to be a good event. Thank you for that. Our next item of business is new business. And I believe that's over to you, Councillor.
Councillor Carver, there was one item, came to our attention last evening at the meeting of the Municipal Joint Services Board, that long time, and I think our longest tenured employee within the various municipal groups, Eric Workham, after 46 going on 47 years, has finally decided to hang them up. And of course, many of us know Eric from his, many decades of work at the Municipal Waste Service. He's been instrumental in the evolution of the organization and really the entire all of the improvements made over these past decades. So I'd like to recognize Eric's 46 years of tenure and wish him well in retirement. I think there'll be information coming from the Joint Services Board about an appropriate send-off that's being organized on his behalf.
Excellent, thank you for that. I hope he writes a book, about the history, because he has the whole view of the whole thing. Well, that takes care of the public business, and I wonder, Kelly, are there anybody online? Are there any questions?
There are 10 people watching and no questions.
No questions?
Hey,
Yeah, I did.
No, you did.
So I left, we were short quorum, so.
We're keeping quorum at the kindness of Councillor Now, not going for the fire call. Thank you for that. So the business of the agenda having been completed, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to Councillor Feely. And seconded by Councillor Now. Could you cite the items that will be discussed in closed session, please?
Pardon me, this is moving into closed session under MGA 22(2)A and MGA 22(2)F. Acquisition, sale, lease, and security of municipal property and litigation or potential litigation.
since we're citing them, can I just add contract negotiations?
And contract negotiations, MG
I
22(2)E.
think it's E.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion about that, about the motion? All in favor? I declare that we move into closed session.